Hey everybody, how are you? Welcome back to art class. So today we're going to talk just a little bit about patterns, which you already know about, so it'll be kind of a review. And then we're going to learn about something called depth. So depth is how deep something is in real life. When you're at the swimming pool and you look down and it says like depth 3 feet, that means there's 3 feet of water, so you don't want to like do an awesome backflip into it because you might bump your head. In art, depth still kind of means how deep it is, but it's usually on like a much larger scale. When we talk about adding depth to our artwork, there's things that we can do. There's kind of tricks that we can do as artists to make these things look super deep. And when I'm talking about like really, really deep, I mean like as far as you can see in real life. So usually the more depth we give to our artwork, the more realistic it looks. And today we're going to talk about how to do that, which there's like one really easy kind of trick that you can use to add those ideas, that depth idea to your artwork. So first, quick review about patterns. What's a pattern? Go ahead, say it out loud. You're right, it's something that repeats over and over and over and over in poetry and writing and things like that. We have patterns. We have different sounds that will show up. In music, we have patterns. We have different beats that we are paying attention to as we are singing that song. In art, patterns are visual. We see them. So it's things like shapes that repeat over and over. It's things like colors that repeat over and over. It's lines, different types of lines that repeat. But again, it's anything that repeats over and over and over. So if you hopefully looked at the video that showed all those hot air balloons, you saw a lot of really awesome patterns. The reason we use patterns to decorate things that we want to stand out, and if you think about it, it's things like clothing and stuff have patterns on it, is because a pattern is literally exciting for your brain. If your brain is looking at just one solid color, let's say I'm just wearing a blue shirt, your brain says, okay, that's blue, I understand what's going on. But if I'm wearing a shirt that has like stripes on it and it goes blue, yellow, blue, yellow, blue, yellow, my brain has to kind of switch gears every single time it looks at a new color. And for our brains, that's kind of exciting to have to go, okay, blue, what's the next one? Yellow, got it. What's this next one? It's blue again. So that's why a lot of things that we want to kind of stand out, kind of be exciting, are decorated with patterns. All right, enough about patterns. So depth. What's that one trick that we can use in our artwork to make things look deeper, to make things look like they go further away from us? We've talked about it just a little bit. We're going to talk about it again. It's something called perspective. All perspective is drawing things how we really see them. And the trick using perspective to show depth has to do with how big or small we draw something. If something's far away from us, it's gonna look small in real life. So in your picture, if you want something to be far away, you draw it small. So if we look at these two trees, this guy here, which one looks like it's further away? That's right, you guessed correctly. The smaller one. It's the same exact tree, that's just smaller. And that's the trick. That's the trick to making this depth illusion happen in our artwork, is making things smaller that we want to appear further away. Congratulations, you've figured it out. You've learned the one trick to making fantastic artwork. You're now professional artists. go out there and sell a bunch of paintings. All right, that's kind of all the learning we needed to do for today. So let's get started drawing some hot air balloons. That's right, you probably figured it out from the video we watched. We're making hot air balloons. Let's get to work. All right, so for our artwork today, you need a piece of paper, pencil, some crayons, and a marker to trace if you want to, or if you have one. You don't really have to though, it'll still look great, even if you don't trace it. All right, so we are going to draw some hot air balloons, and we're going to draw them different sizes. And the reason we're gonna do that is to show that depth that we were talking about. And that's gonna kind of be my first step. I am gonna add details to kind of turn this into a landscape, but I'm gonna make my hot air balloons first and then make my landscape kind of around it, so that I don't have to make really any big adjustments to the size of my hot air balloons based on what I want my landscape to be. So I'm gonna do that first. Now, the shape of one of those hot air balloons, it's one of those that kind of seems easy when you look at it, but once you start trying to make it, it can be a little challenging. So there's kind of two ways that you can think of it. You can think of it as like an upside down water drop. So something like that, but upside down. And then if I wanted it to look realistic, I would give it a flat bottom instead of that pointed bottom. So it would end up looking something like that. The other way that you can kind of think of it as is a circle with a square underneath it. But as you make it, you're kind of making it all one shape without, showing the two separate shapes. So those are two kind of, I think, maybe easy ways to think about that shape. I'm gonna go with that one, kind of my upside down water drop with a flat bottom instead of a pointy bottom. All right, so I want 3 hot air balloons, and I want them to be different sizes. Before I worry about the patterns or the decorations or anything, I'm just gonna get their main shapes figured out. So I'm gonna put my biggest one right here. I'm gonna put a really small one, so it'll be way off in the distance, right here. And then I'm gonna put kind of a medium-sized one right here. Like that. All right, so I'm gonna add some of my little ropes, my little basket for the people to be in. All right, so we've got 3 different sizes. That is already gonna help them look like they are different distances away. But there's other things we'll do with our background and stuff that once it's all completed, it'll probably look even more so. Now, if I wanted to just start decorating these, I could. I'm gonna go ahead and add just a few more lines. And when you watched that video with the hot air balloons in it, you'll notice a lot of them have those lines that show up there. That's because these are, made out of different pieces of fabric. So that's where 2 huge giant pieces of fabric are sewn together. Sometimes those are used as part of the pattern. Sometimes they are not. Like I said, you don't have to do these if you don't want to. I'm just gonna add them because I want it to look a little more real. All right, so I'm gonna start with some patterns, and on this one I'm gonna do kind of these V shapes. And you can use lines, you can use shapes, you can use colors. You can use combinations of those things as you're going around and making your patterns on your hot air balloons. All right, on this one I'm just gonna do some stripes. I'm gonna make those lines a little curved so it helps make it look like it's a little more round. All right, cool, so there's that. Maybe on this close basket, I'm gonna add a little bit of the detail to show that it's like woven. Maybe just a little bit less of it on that one since it's farther away, it'd probably be harder to see. And back there, just a few little lines to give me kind of an idea of what's going on back there. All right, so now the last step is going to be to add my details to kind of show the landscape part of this. And just like any of the other landscapes we do, it can be any kind of place that you want it to be. Maybe the one difference that I would think about is since we're kind of in the sky focusing on these, we're not going to see a lot of really big stuff, because if we're up here in the sky where these are, we can still see the ground, but I'm not going to have like a giant barn right here, because if it was that big compared to these, it would be like a giant skyscraper barn way up in the air, and one of these hot air balloons might hit it. So I'm going to worry about just kind of the stuff that I would see down on the ground. So I'm going to start with some hills. I'm going to do a couple of different layers of these hills. And as they get further away, I'm going to make them look just a little shorter. So it kind of gives off that idea of depth so that they're going farther away from us. And then behind those, I'm going to add some mountains. Those are going to be pretty small, since I want them to look like they are very, very far away. All right, I'm gonna add some details to some of these hills. So maybe it looks like these are flying over some farms. So those are like the rows where I would plant my vegetables or whatever. Not gonna do that to all of them, just a couple of them. All right, so I think that is about all I need. I'm gonna go ahead and color this, and I will speed it up real quick so you can see the final version when I am all the way done. All right, there is my hot air balloon drawing. We used patterns to decorate them. We made them in different sizes to make it look like some are further away than others. That's how we're gonna show that depth to kind of make it look a little more realistic. Hope your hot air balloons turn out great. I'm sure they will. Can't wait to see them. Hope everyone's doing well. See you guys later. Bye.